Welcome back, guys. This is my spoiler review for Everything Everywhere All at Once. This film is utterly insane. It's absurd, it's hilarious, it's crazy, and honestly, it's almost too much. There is so much going on with this film, with its crazy sci-fi multiverse premise. It is just like, it's a full-on film. It is crazy to me that like 2 weeks before Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, a film which we've known the title of its multiverseness for like 2 years, there is suddenly this small kind of, not indie, because it's probably like $20-30 million movie kind of thing, but you know, it feels like an indie version of that, because it's essentially just a multiverse of madness. It is crazy. It is insane. There is so much going on. The main thing I kind of feel like I took away from this film was just like, I was kind of in awe of how many different locations and costumes and just situations that Michelle Yeoh's character was like in, like, because she's verse jumping or whatever they call it, the multiverse jumping all over the place into her different bodies in all the different multiverses, and there are so many shots where it's just like bang 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 bang, and she's in just like lots of different shots of her face, but the backgrounds, the costumes, the design, the set design, all the things were just different, unique, interesting, crazy, and they were on screen for like split seconds at times. Some were on screen for like longer. There were extended scenes in other universes and stuff, but I don't know, it was like, how did they do this? Like, there was a point where someone get punched and they're like falling down some stairs, and each time they hit, they like change costumes and stuff, and I'm just like, what a nightmare of a film to edit. What a nightmare of a film to kind of piece together. Like, and this isn't really a criticism because it was just so marvelous I couldn't help but think about it. But I was almost taken out of the film at times when I'm just thinking about like the production of it and just being like, this is an insane film. How did they even put this together? Like, if you gave me all that footage and were like, here's the storyboards, here's what we're doing, you know what's up, there's all the footage, put it together, I'd be like, no. That's insane. How the hell am I going to do this? Do I have 7 years to do this? This is crazy. This is crazy. And it is. The film is absolutely bonkers. The main cast for this film is spectacular. Everyone does a really, really great job. I think the daughter is maybe my least favorite out of all of them, but I just think that everyone else is kind of at such a high level that I found her performance, because she plays the main villain, and like at the start of the story, she's just like her normal human in the main world we're going to stay in, and she's like just like a teenage girl, and she's like doesn't get along with her mum. She's trying to come out to her grandfather, but her mum's not letting her, and there's some really raw emotions going on, and you know, it's kind of bookended with that character, and I think she's really good in those scenes, and I found a lot of emotion coming from her there. But throughout the movie, that's revealed that she's like the main villain, and she's like a multiversal dimensional being thing that's been like tortured and turned into this thing because she can see everything everywhere all at once, and she's like, oh, I'm consumed by seeing everything all the time, and she gets this kind of existential dread going on where she's like, ooh, nothing matters, ooh, I'm all nihilisty, ooh, like I'm like Rick from Rick and Morty, it's like, oh, nothing matters, and it's like, I understand where she's coming from, because if everything's happening all at once, and no matter what happens, you can go to jump to another universe, so you can never die, all this stuff, but I feel like her performance was just a bit kind of zany and cartoony, not to like throw shade to cartoons or anything like that, but just that kind of over-the-top zany kind of woo-woo-woo performance, and the film is so colourful and insane and crazy and a little bit silly and absurd and dumb and stupid. Like, a lot of the humour is very, very funny, but then a lot of the humour is also really silly and kind of immature, which is totally fine, like, really fine. Like, I liked almost all of that. But I felt like that didn't really jive, like when she's all like, I'm a wacky zany villain, and then she's like, but I'm dealing with existential dread and nothing matters and I want to kill myself. It didn't really jive, and I found that emotional kind of pull from the villain, like her whole kind of thing, I'm like, I don't really buy it. She's like, I made a big bagel of destruction and doom, and I just want someone to look at it and be like, yes, nothing matters. Things do matter. Shut up. I don't know. I just found her just like not overly compelling. Then when we got back to the end of the film, she's all like, Mum, I just can't deal with you. Like, we just don't get along. Maybe we should just, not hang out anymore. And I was like, oh, geez, oh my God, all the emotion suddenly came back from that start of the film. So I don't know, that's like a little bit of a nitpick for me. Didn't really love the villain, but everyone else is amazing. Jamie Lee Curtis in particular was really, really fun. I loved all of her different kind of multiverse characters and stuff. She was really, really great. Michelle Yeoh as the main character was amazing. She did a really, really great performance. I love kind of the arc of her character. There were some really horrible moments where she was told that, you know, the main character that we're seeing jump through all the different multiverses is the most boring and the worst one, and she's done the least, and she's got a failing laundromat, and she's just the worst of all of them, and she has some really brutal kind of moments of realizing that, even though I kind of feel like, hey, even though she's got a failing laundromat and the IRS is coming at her and they're ordering her and stuff, surely there's got to be, like, if there's multiple in possibly a large amount of different universes, surely there's one that's worse than that. Surely just having a failing business isn't the worst you could do. But once again, tiny little nitpick, Indiana Jones' short round is in this, which was super exciting to see. At first when I was watching the film, I'm like, is that old man Short Round from Indiana Jones 2? But then I was like, I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen him in a movie since Indiana Jones 2. So I didn't realize, but it is him, and he's amazing. He's really, really, really fun. He does the kind of doting husband play like character really well, who's kind of a bit timid and stuff and a bit like kind of shy. Then he plays the kind of more serious spy kind of suave character really well. I just really liked his performance. He was a lot of fun, and now I am all on board with Short Round back for Indiana Jones 5 and or 6 or whatever they're up to. The karate and kung fu and all martial arts of this film is so much fun. It's so inventive and zany and crazy. There's some really, really interesting fun bits. My favorite bit was when Short Round had his like fanny pack and he's like using it and spinning it around and being like, and it was just so exciting and inventive and creative. There isn't that much kind of kung fu, martial arts, karate kind of stuff going on. I kind of feel like I would have liked a couple more scenes, but honestly, there's just so much going on in this film, so much crazy, insane stuff. Maybe there isn't time, because I do also think this movie's at 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I think maybe it's 20 minutes too long, but you know, off the top of my head, I can't think where you take anything out. The humor in this film was absolutely insane. It totally reminded me of Rick and Morty. This film really feels like a cross between the wacky, zany craziness and also existential dread of Rick and Morty, but then cross between the kind of karate, plug yourself in and woo woo woo, now I know kung fu. And not just because there's a moment where she goes, psh, now I know kung fu. And she has that moment. She's having a moment where everyone's shooting bullets and they all touch her, and then she goes, Neo moments in Reloaded where he's like bullets and flies them back, but this time she turns them all into googly eyes. This film has crazy, zany energy, and at times I'm like, I don't know if I can keep up with this, and I've got a lot of energy for this kind of thing, so like, that says a lot of how much energy and madness and craziness and just visual just stimulus. It was just so much going on in my eyeballs. I was like, whoa, almost slow down, but absolutely do not slow down, because this is crazy, unique, and just what am I even watching? We see a lot of multiverses in this film. There are just so many just going like bang, 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 and just cutting between them all. But there are a few that we focus on that I found particularly entertaining. There's the very Rick and Morty one where everyone's got hot dogs for fingers and they're all big long hot dogs, and that is absolutely hilarious. We've got one that was kind of like very funny at first where there's just two rocks and they're like just, you know, speech bubbles, and, you know, not speech bubbles, but, you know, like text, like they're texting each other and they're talking and they're just rocks and there's no humans there. But then it gets like really existential and really kind of poignant and beautiful. And I think that was kind of the highlight of the emotional stuff for me there. And that was the kind of existential stuff that really, really worked for me with those two rocks. I felt like it really said a lot. And it was just, that was kind of the highlight of the film when we got to that moment. There was an amazing moment in the hot dog universe where they're all just like playing the piano with their feet and they're all just like, it's amazing and hilarious. I love it. I think just like Rick and Morty though, this film kind of has such hilarious, absurd, insane moments that I'm kind of like 90%, 80% of the time, I'm like, I really, really like this and it's absolutely working. And then the other, you know, 20, 15% is kind of just like, oh yeah, going too far, not really for me. My favorite reoccurring joke throughout the film was the Raccoon-a-Tooie thing where she gets the Ratatouille film mixed up with a raccoon on someone's head, and then there's a universe where that's just happening. Overall, this film is an absolute masterpiece. It's a must-watch film. It's completely insane. There's so much going on. I really, really liked it. I do have some issues, and I felt like sometimes I was like kind of overwhelmed and battered by how much insanity was happening. But as a film, from like the production level, the writing level, just putting it together, just overwhelmed in awe. But like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, how did they even do this and it's not like an absolute mess? I'm definitely not going to be the first one to say this, and I won't be the last, but this truly is the true multiverse of madness. Sorry, Doctor Strange. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I'd love to know what everyone thinks of everything, everywhere, all at once.